Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Mohammad Nahid Salman, Assistant Professor of Department of Physiology of Ad-Din Akis Medical College, Khulna. In our previous class, we have learned about the transportation processes of sodium ion from the proximal convoluted tubules, and we have known about the transportation process of sodium from tubular lumen into the tubular epithelial cell, and then the tubular epithelial cell into the interstitium, and then the interstitium into the peritubular capillaries. Before discussing it elaborately, we will repeat the informations of our previous classes. From the tubular lumen into the tubular epithelial cells, there are three processes of sodium transport system. First one is sodium hydrogen counter transport, or you can call it sodium hydrogen exchange, and then the sodium glucose co-transport, and then the sodium amino acid co-transport. In our previous class, we have discussed about the sodium hydrogen exchange. Today I will discuss about the sodium glucose co-transport and the sodium amino acid co-transport. Before entering the main topic, I will discuss or you can tell I will repeat the main portions of our previous figure. As you know, there are two portions of the nephron, renal corpuscle and renal tubules, and the first portion of renal tubules is the proximal convoluted tubule, and you already know about that. About 65% of the tubular load is reabsorbed from the proximal convoluted tubule. And now I will discuss about the tubular epithelial cells and lumen and interstitium and peritubular capillaries in this figure. This is the luminal portions of the renal tubule, and this is the renal tubular epithelial cell. You can identify the renal tubular epithelial cell by the presence of this nucleus, and this thin space is known as the interstitial space, and this capillary system is known as peritubular capillary. Why it is called peritubular capillary? As because this capillary system is situated around the tubule. Peri means around, so that's why it is named peritubular capillaries. And you know about these tubular epithelial cells, there are commonly two surfaces of these tubular epithelial cells. This surface, which is nearby of the lumen, is known as luminal surface, and this surface of the tubular epithelial cell is known as basolateral surface because this surface rests upon the basement membrane. So this renal tubular epithelial cells has two surfaces. First one is luminal surface attached with the lumen, and second surface is basolateral surface, which is attached with the basement membrane. Now I will discuss about the sodium glucose co-transport. You can answer another question from this discussion also, that is the transportation process of the glucose. In your written examination or in viva examination, your teacher may ask you, please tell the transportation mechanism of glucose, or your examiner can ask the transportation technique of sodium. There are two questions, but the answer is only one, that is sodium glucose co-transport from the lumen into the tubular epithelial cells. What type of transport process is sodium glucose co-transport? From the name we can get the information, it is co-transport. Co-transport means two or more substance will go in the same directions, and it is one kind of active transport. That means energy is needed in this process. At first, from the very first, we can divide the active transport. Active transports has two subdivision, or you can tell there are two types of active transport for micromolecules. The first one is primary active transport, and the second one is secondary active transport. In case of primary active transport, energy expenditure is direct, so energy is used directly, and in case of secondary active transport, energy is used indirectly. Indirectly means this type of energy is achieved from the direct expenditure of energy in the primary active transport. And further, the secondary active transport is subdivided into two types, that is co-transport and counter-transport. And here we are, this sodium glucose co-transport is the type of secondary active transport. So now we can tell that the energy which is needed here or which is used up here is derived from the primary active transport, in which the energy is used directly. So this is a renal tubular epithelial cell and this is the luminal surface, and in the luminal surface there is a transport protein, or you can call it as a carrier protein. This carrier protein has two binding sites. One binding site is for sodium ion and another binding site is for glucose. Your examiner may ask, what is the name of this transport protein or carrier protein? This transport protein is dependent solely on the sodium ion and it will transport the glucose molecules. So we can name it as the sodium dependent glucose transporter. So if we write it down here, sodium dependent glucose transporter. In short, we can call it SGLT. S comes from the sodium, GLT comes from glucose transporter. There are several types of SGLT transporter proteins. In this case, we will need SGLT type 2 transport protein. So, the name of this carrier protein is SGLT2. SGLT2. So, this SGLT2 carrier protein is situated on the luminal surface of the renal tubular epithelial cell in proximal convoluted tubule, and it has two binding sites. First binding site is for sodium ion and the second is for glucose molecules. And now when the energy is derived from the primary active transport, which is situated on the basolateral surface of the same cells. So we will draw the primary active transport process on the basolateral surface. This is the transport protein, or we can call it pump protein, and this pump protein is known as sodium potassium ATPase pump. It has three binding sites for sodium ion and two binding sites for potassium ions, and energy is expenditure here directly by the presence of sodium potassium ATPase enzymes, and this is the ATPase enzyme. This ATPase enzyme will break down the ATP into ADP, adenosine diphosphate, and inorganic phosphate, and will release a tremendous amount of energy, and this energy will establish a concentration gradient in the renal tubular epithelial cell, and this concentration gradient of sodium ion will drive the sodium from the lumen into the renal tubular epithelial cells, and along with the sodium ion, glucose will be dragged from the lumen into the renal tubular epithelial cells. So we can tell the energy is used here indirectly, which is produced in the basolateral surface directly by the action of ATPase enzymes. So what we have got here, on the basolateral surface there is a pump protein that is named as sodium potassium ATPase pump, which will pump out 3 sodium ion from the cell into the interstitium and pump in 2 potassium ion against the concentration gradient from the interstitial space into the cell, and ATP is used up here by presence of ATPase enzyme, and this whole procedure will establish a concentration gradient in this cell, and this concentration gradient will create a driving force of sodium ion to enter from the lumen into the cell, and along with the sodium ion, glucose will be transported actively from the lumen into the cell with the help of or with the presence of SGLT2 carrier protein. So we have learned two answers from this figure only. Your teacher may ask about the transportation technique of the sodium ion or transportation technique of the glucose. So the answer is sodium is transported in the proximal convoluted tubule in secondary active transport, that is named as sodium glucose cotransport. Sodium will go towards the concentration gradient and glucose will go against the concentration gradient. Mainly the secondary active transport of glucose is important here. And now we have to know how the glucose is transported from this cell into the interstitium. There is another type of carrier protein present here for glucose transportation. The name of this transport protein is GLUT2. GLUT2 is the name of this transporter protein which is situated on the basolateral surface of this cell. From where this name come from? GLUT means glucose transporter. There are several types of glucose transporter GLUT 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but we need GLUT2 here. So by this transportation protein or carrier protein, glucose is facilitated diffused from the tubular epithelial cells into the interstitiums. So in short, we can tell at first glucose is transported from the lumen into the cell by secondary active transport with the help of SGLT2 protein, carrier protein, and from the tubular epithelial cells into the interstitium by the passive process, that is facilitated diffusion with the help of GLUT2 carrier protein. And now we will know about the transportation process of glucose from the interstitium into the capillary. As we discussed about it in our first class, that is glucose is transported from the interstitium into the capillary by the bulk flow. So this transportation technique, glucose will go from interstitium into the capillary by the process of bulk flow, or we can name it as the ultrafiltration. So this is all for glucose transportation. In a short, I will repeat it. Glucose is transported from the tubular lumen into the tubular cell by secondary active transport with the help of SGLT2 carrier protein, and from the tubular epithelial cells into the interstitium by passive process which is facilitated diffusion with the help of another transport protein which is named GLUT2, and from the interstitium glucose is transported by bulk flow, or you can call it ultrafiltration, into the capillary, peritubular capillary system. And sodium is transported from the lumen into the renal tubular epithelial cells by sodium glucose cotransport process, and from renal tubular epithelial cell into the interstitium by sodium potassium ATPase pump, and from the interstitium into the capillaries is the ultrafiltration or bulk flow. And this is all about the glucose and sodium transportation technique from the proximal convoluted tubule. There is another transportation process of sodium ion from the PCT into the capillary, that is sodium amino acid cotransport. It is very similar to this mechanism, so we don't have to discuss it elaborately as like it. I will draw it there is a transportation protein in the luminal surface of the proximal convoluted tubule which has another binding site for amino acid. When the sodium ion is bound with this carrier protein and amino acid is bound simultaneously, sodium ion will go towards the concentration gradient, and along with sodium the amino acid will be dragged against the concentration gradient. And as you know already how the energy concentration gradient is derived. The concentration gradient is derived with the help of this PAM protein, that is sodium potassium ATPase PAM. So this transportation process is another type of secondary active transport, that is co-transport, sodium amino acid co-transport. So this is all for today. In this class we have learned about the transportation process of sodium, amino acid, glucose simultaneously. Thank you all for having patience. In our next class we will discuss about the transportation process of sodium ion in further segment of the renal tubules.